How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
It's a weekend of iconic fixtures at the ICC Champions Trophy 2025. The first of those in Saturday takes us to the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. We build up to it on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Match Day, where we are in the company of Ashton, Agar and Nick Knight. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Pleasure having you with us on ESPNcricinfo. There is that other game on Sunday that the subcontinent talks about a lot, but our focus is on Australia and England, both drawn together in what looks like the group of death. Ashton, let's start with you. Reigning world champions in this format, but God, it's been some build-up for Australia with players dropping out from that original squad. Can this makeshift squad cope?
Oh, it has been a tough build-up. I mean, when you lose such quality and experienced players who have won multiple world titles, it's not the ideal start to your campaign. However, this group knows how to win. There are still some players in there who are very experienced. I mean, we call it a makeshift squad, but these are guys who have been waiting in the wings for a long time. And hunger is something that gets you through this competition. So that fire will be burning within them. It's a huge tournament for them to push their case to play more for Australia, and I guess there's nothing more dangerous than someone who's hungry and ready to take an opportunity.
Nick, if Australia have been troubled by fitness, England are plagued by form. It was far from the ideal preparation in India. What should the group have learnt as they embark on this journey in Pakistan?
Well, you're absolutely right. But I think, as we all know, going to India to play in this format of the game is pretty tough. So I don't think they'd be expecting necessarily, clearly they would have hoped that they'd won and played better. But I think what they've learned is if they get in a strong position, and let's face it, they did get themselves in a strong position from time to time, particularly at the top of the order with the starts they got. Can they maintain that? They're just rejigging their order a little bit to try and maintain that. So they know they're going to get in strong positions, but are they good to play 50 over cricket rather than 20 over cricket? And that's my slight concern with this England side, is not a huge amount of them regularly play 50 over cricket. And there will be match situations, game situations that will unfold in this game on Saturday. And are England able to grab that opportunity and run with it? That will be something that they've learned from those last few games. And are they good enough to do it on Saturday?
Ashton, looking at Australia's two linchpins, not like they've ever failed to deliver when it's needed, but tremendous responsibility on Travis Head and Stephen Smith in this unlikely group.
Big responsibility, and I think they would certainly be feeling that. But I think it's something that they quite like. I know Steve Smith, he wants to be the best player on the park in every game that he plays. He might shrug that off in some of his interviews and things that you see, but I know deep down he loves that, and he loves being the best, and he loves to win. So he has a great ability to read situations and then act accordingly. He's a great problem solver, as we've seen throughout his whole career. But the ability to absorb pressure, I think, is going to be really important. You know, one-day cricket, it's a very long game. It's surprisingly long, particularly when you're out in the middle. In places like Pakistan, where it's loud and there's big crowds and it might be hot, the ball could be flying around. It feels like the game's moving in fast forward, but the ability to take a breath, slow it down, make a clear decision is going to rest heavily upon his shoulders, and I think the rest of the team will have to bat around him. And then Travis Head, I mean, he's a guy that plays pretty similarly in all three formats of the game, and that's his method of success. We're not going to see anything different from Travis Head as to what we've seen, over the past 2 years. And his way of taking the positive option at all times has allowed Australia to win a lot of games and break games very, very early on. So, you want those two players to play their natural games, and that's absolutely fine. So, to be honest, I have no concerns about the pressure that's going to be heaped on them. I'm excited to see how they take that on and hopefully win some games for Australia playing their natural game.
Ashton, a lack of experience in the squad is something that screams out for Australia. I mean, you can grant them that because it's just that senior core, especially when you look at the fast bowlers, have been around so long that a lot of these people have been knocking on the doors. But when you look at this fast bowling core, untested as they are, what is going to be the biggest challenge for them in Pakistan?
Well, I think in a one-day game, trying to break the top order is very important. the ability to swing the new ball and take wickets up front gets you ahead of the game straight away. Particularly when you match up with a team like England, we know that they're going to come out all guns blazing. As Nick said, they've played a lot of T20 cricket, but not a whole lot of one-day cricket. So they're going to be looking to hit boundaries. So to expose that, get into the middle order as soon as possible, and making sure that they have to absorb some pressure is going to be really important. But then you have the middle overs where you need to keep taking wickets. That's where Adam Zampa's role is going to be really important. And I guess when you don't have those three fast bowlers, his overs become a lot more precious. How do you use Maxwell, Matt Short, maybe even Travis Head around him? So you don't use those overs up too early because they become a little bit more valuable. In the death, I feel that Nathan Ellis is a fantastic death bowler. Ben Dwarshuis and Sean Abbott really know how to do the job and bowl some good Yorkers and slower balls. But honestly, I'm really excited to see Spencer Johnson with the new ball. I think he matches up well to a lot of their players, and I know that they have great respect for him as well. So whilst, we miss a bit of experience in that bowling group, there's some really good skills in there. But like I said, breaking the game open with the new ball, swinging it fast, Spencer Johnson is going to be the key there.
So you've named all of them. You'd reckon there's room for three perhaps in the 11. Who would you be picking?
Oh, gee, that's a tough one. They're all my mates, so it's a very horrible question to ask me early on. I think Spencer Johnson's a lock. I think Nathan Ellis is a lock. And then, what do you want from either Ben Dwarshuis or Sean Abbott? Both of them can do a really good job with the bat. Do you feel like the left arm swinging the ball is going to be the option, or the right arm a little bit more experienced and a very good batsman as well? So really, I'm really glad I don't have to be in that position because I can't make my mind up at the moment, hence why I named all four of them before.
Yeah, apologies for what might have been a tough question to answer, and might I say welcome to this part of your cricketing life. Nick Knight, no such doubts as far as England's composition is concerned, because they have named their 11, and immediately there are two things that stand out. There's going to be Jamie Smith batting at number 3, which means Joe Root bats 4. And there's also 4 specialist bowlers, which means Root and Livingston among them have to shoulder the responsibility of 10 overs. Are you satisfied with this combination?
It's a concern. If I'm brutally honest with you, I think it's a real concern that Root and Livingston are going to be your fifth bowlers. Having said that, I'm a massive fan of Jamie Smith, and I really would applaud the fact that he's going to get an opportunity perhaps higher up the order. With all these things, you look at it from a slightly optimistic and pessimistic view. Optimistic, it's great for Jamie Smith. Pessimistically, Josh Butler's dropping down the order. I mean, it looks like be at maybe number 6. They've got to manage that situation really well, and there's going to have to be an element of flexibility. The further Joe Root drops down the order, you start wondering about the overall impact he can have on the game, because you want him to dictate terms early and then kind of take control of the innings as it unfolds. So England have got to be really smart on how they use and are flexible with 3, 4, 5. I mean, 3 is going to be Jamie Smith, 4, 5, 6. That is going to be so crucial for them to get right. And I go back to what I just said about game situation. England have got to identify the game situation and get the right player in at the right time. People talk about left hand, right hand, but at this moment, England have got to be really specific with that and make good calls. I am genuinely concerned, though, about that 5th bowler option today.
So what seem to you as the phases of play that could have most bearing on the outcome?
Well, the easy answer is to say you've got to start well, set the tone, all that stuff. Of course, that's important, but I'm going to go a little deeper than that, be a bit more forensic than that. I think, and Ash just mentioned it a little earlier, I think the key moments in these games, it is a long game. And we saw it a little bit with the India match and Bumrah not being there. You've got to break stubborn partnerships in the middle. You might have a side 3 down quickly, but actually it's still a long game. And you've got to have a team, a bowling unit that can break a stubborn partnership in over 30. It might be Adil Rashid for England. It might be Jofra Archer. It might be Mark Wood. But you need to find a way of breaking those stubborn partnerships. So I think the middle section is going to be really crucial. And then, of course, Ash already mentioned Zampa. You know, he too will play a pretty critical role in breaking a pivotal partnership that might be the difference between getting 350 and 300 or 300 and 250, depending on the conditions. So I see, in answer to your question, simplistically, I see the middle phases being absolutely crucial.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.